Welcome, my friends. This is the Your Book, Your Voice coffee chat. I got everything labeled as Your Book, Your Voice because that's the business. My audiobook coaching program is called that. My podcast is called that. It's all good. It's all good. Anyway, thank you. Welcome. This is, again, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Today we're going to be talking about what it takes to create an audiobook, solving the audiobook puzzle, because there are a lot of moving parts in creating an audiobook, lots of moving parts. And if you are trying to do it yourself, you can get lost in the mire. There's going to be maybe some puzzle pieces that you'll be missing that you definitely need to have to make this work and to do it and create a great audiobook. Now, if you're a nonfiction author and you have a book that's published, maybe you just published a book, or maybe you have a book that you published, I don't know, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. You can bring that book back to life. It's so easy to do when you turn it into an audiobook. And the key factor is that you, as the author, are narrating your own audiobook. You're the one who are narrating your own audiobook. It's in your own voice because that is who you are. That is your author brand. That represents your author brand. Your unique voice is already in your written word and you're just bringing it to life. So whether you have a book that you just published or a book you published 10 years ago, bring it back to life. All right. Expand it to an audience that deserves to hear you tell your story in your own voice. And we're going to go over just some of the pieces that you need to do, those puzzle pieces to put together to create a great audiobook. Now, before we do, just one quick thing I want to share with you, and that is every night here on Thursdays, I do the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. That's why I get confused sometimes. This is Coffee Chat. Podcast is tonight. Join me live because I do, just like I do the Coffee Chats live, join me live every Thursday night for the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. You can get in on the conversation. And tonight, I have an awesome guest, Robert Gaines, who is a published author. He's also a podcaster, an entrepreneur. He also recorded his book as an audiobook, and he's going to talk and share about his experiences, what things worked, what things that he did that maybe didn't work or he should have done differently. He's going to share that experience, and that's really great because, again, you as a nonfiction author need to narrate your own audiobook. Robert Gaines did that, and we're going to really do a deep dive into that. And again, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to share some other stories too. He had a studio. I'm also a musician. We talk music, all this stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. So join me tonight. It's on the Bold Brave TV YouTube channel. Okay, Bold Brave TV YouTube channel. Go to their YouTube channel and click the live. Oh, I got a nose itch. I might have to sneeze. Hold on. Oh, whoa. That's what happens when you're doing a live broadcast. All right, so join me tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Go to the Bold Brave TV YouTube channel and join the show live. Those of you on Instagram, all right, go to my profile page. It's a Linktree link. Click on that link. All the links are there. The link to join the podcast live tonight, it's there. So check it out, all right? You can join there. And of course, there on LinkedIn and on YouTube, you can just go to the description and in the comments or in the description, and you can click on the links that are there to join the show live. Again, that's 8 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern time tonight. All right, so when it comes to your book, right, you have this great nonfiction book that you've written, all right? You want to turn it into an audiobook. Now, that's great. Great business decision because as an author, you are an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur, so embrace entrepreneurship. You are a brand. You're an author brand. Love it, embrace it. And now, if you've made the decision that you want to turn your book into an audiobook, that is a great decision because now you are reaching an audience that may not even know that you exist because there's a lot of people that get audiobooks and that's all they do. They listen to audiobooks. And if they like you, if they love what you have to say, if they love your story, if they love your content, then they will look into you as an author that they can also get your ebook, your paperback, your hardcover. So it does help in boosting sales. So what is the audiobook puzzle? Let's solve that. First of all, you got your book. That's great. The first step is you need to figure out where, and you need to do this before you start your audiobook recording, is where do you want to be published? Now, Audible, Amazon, and Apple, those are the AAA. I call it the AAA because those are 3 platforms that you definitely need to be on, because most people go there to grab their audiobooks. They have audiobook accounts. That, when you say Audible, people know exactly what that is and where they need to go to get an audiobook. Now, of course, there are other distribution platforms. There are a lot of them. And maybe it is beneficial for you to be on one of those distribution platforms. It may work for you, but I highly recommend. So the first phase is recommending that you get on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Now, to do that, that's all under the Amazon umbrella. You have to go to ACX, which is the publication place where you get your audiobook on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And you have to set up your account. Now, that alone can be a harrowing experience because ACX can get a little confusing, and they kind of do it step by step for you, but still it can be confusing. So you need to get that set up, which is why I love, as an audiobook coach and producer, I love helping authors through that process because it can get confusing. Now, don't let that be a barrier to stop you from doing your audiobook. All right. So when you figure out where you want to be distributed, now it's time to figure out what you're going to do with your audiobook, okay, and how you're going to record. So let's start with piecing this puzzle together. Now that you know your marketing strategy, that's great. Okay. Okay. Now, when you record your audiobook, you are going to be doing it in sections and pieces. You don't have to sit there and read your entire book in one sitting. That's not the way to do it. It's not going to sound good anyway. You're going to get tired and fatigued. Your energy levels are going to drop. Not a good thing, okay? Because we need consistency. So when you record your audiobook, it is done in sections. The first part of your book, right, your front matter, which has your opening credits, your dedication, maybe you have a foreword or an introduction, or maybe you also have a prologue, any of that stuff that's in the front part of your book, those are all separate audio files. Now you get into the meat of your book. That's all your chapters. Maybe you have a book that has 20 chapters. Well, 20 chapters are going to be an additional 20 separate audio files. And then you have the back matter of your book. So you have your acknowledgments, you have what to do next, you have other things maybe as part of your book. If you're a coach or an entrepreneur and you have a coaching program, maybe you have something on the back matter of your book that talks about your coaching program and how people can get in touch with you. So all those sections of your book, you might have 30, 40, 50 sections of your book. Okay. Every little piece, little section of your book is one audio file, and that's how you record it. And it does make it easier because, again, you're not sitting in one session for hours trying to knock out your recording. Because, again, consistency is key. You want to keep that same energy from opening credits to closing credits. You want to make sure your audio levels are good from opening credits to closing credits. And to be able to do it in sections does make it easier. The other piece of the audiobook puzzle is do it in linear fashion. Okay, start from the beginning and just go in order. It just makes it easier because that's, for the most part, how you wrote your book in the first place. And it just makes logical sense. And as you're telling your story, what if it's a memoir or a coaching program, doesn't matter. As you are telling your story, you're creating that journey, that ebb and flow of your journey, all right? And it just makes sense to do it in order. Makes it a lot easier. So keep that in mind. Before we continue on, though, this is Coffee Chat. I want to cheers to you. So this is my Snoopy hockey cup. My good friend Gina gave this to me. This was for the 27th Senior World Hockey Tournament in 2002. And it's got Snoopy there. Snoopy's a good hockey player, right? Don't you remember that from the was it the Christmas episode? I think where he's playing hockey with Woodstock. Cheers to you, my friends. Anyway, for being an author, for being an entrepreneur, and just being an awesome human being. This is my elixir of life. What can I say? Maybe tea is yours, coffee is mine. All right, so there you go. You have your audiobook pieces, right? You're doing it in pieces. That's part of the puzzle. Now, the next phase after you record your audiobook, and you can't ignore this because your book will get rejected, and that is there is audio post-production work that needs to be done to your audiobook. Don't ignore that. Don't slough it off. you have to have it done, and you have to have it done professionally. You need somebody who knows what they're doing, who understands the audiobook world, to go through your audiobook and clean it up, make sure everything sounds good, make sure that there aren't any weird ambient anomalous sounds that shouldn't be there. But most importantly, you have to make sure that your audiobook meets the exact specifications for publication, because if it doesn't, it'll get rejected. And I've seen this happen several times with authors who've gone to studios, paid a ton of money to record in a professional recording studio, and then their audiobook was not created to the exact specifications. And then all that work, they upload their audiobook and it gets rejected. I've had to fix a few authors' audiobooks. Some authors who went in and recorded, and they're like, oh man, hey, Robert, can you fix this? I'm getting rejected off of Audible. Absolutely. So that's one of the things that I do provide with my audiobook services. So you don't want that to happen. You want it done right the first time. So remember, after you record, you got to have it edited. And don't just go to some company who says, oh, we'll clean it up, and they run it through some restoration program or app or something and go, okay, it's all done. That's not good enough. That's not good enough, okay? You have to have somebody, an editor, who will listen in real time with a fine-tooth comb every aspect of your audiobook to make sure that it is as perfect as it can possibly be. What if you mispronounce a word? What if you slur a word? What if there's too much space or not enough space between sentences or paragraphs? These are things that a restoration app isn't going to catch. And that's cutting corners. You cannot cut corners on your audiobook. You can't, okay? This is part of your product that represents you, your author brand. I know you didn't cut corners when you created your book in the first place. Why would you cut corners in your audiobook? All right? And again, very important, to solve the audiobook puzzle is narrating it in your own voice. You have to, because it is your story, your author brand. No one can tell your story better than you. You lived it, you breathed it, you've experienced it, you put your blood, sweat, and tears in it, you invested all this time and effort and money into creating your book. Don't skimp. Don't cut corners. You need to narrate your own audiobook. Now, I know there's a lot of great audio editors or narrators out there. Of course there are. But it's still their interpretation. It's not your interpretation, it's theirs. And the way they interpret your book may not be the way that you would want it to be told. So it's really important for you as a nonfiction author to narrate your own audiobook. Hands down. All right, so that is a crucial part of the puzzle, because that puzzle is part of your author brand. And you need to preserve the integrity of your author brand. You need to make sure that you are well represented. This is your brand. This is your business. And you are a professional, whether you write professionally or whether you wrote your book in nights and weekends and you have a day job, doesn't matter. You published your book, you're a professional writer. Love it and embrace it. You are an entrepreneur, okay? So again, make sure that you record your audiobook in sections. That's how it's done and how it'll make it better. And another crucial part of the audiobook puzzle that we need to solve is mindset. Mindset. You have to be in the right frame of mind before you hit that record button. Be in the present moment, be focused, be grounded. You can't be thinking about anything else. You can't be worrying about anything else. And the number one thing is confidence. You got to have confidence in yourself and in your voice. You got to love your voice. Love your voice. That's part of who you are. That is it's part of your author brand. How you sound is part of your author brand. And I'm telling you, I have not come across an author. Out of all the authors that have gone through my audiobook coaching program, I have not come across one author who was so bad and their voice was so horrible that they couldn't narrate their own audiobook. Not once. 100% track record, which means that you, as a nonfiction author, can narrate your own audiobook. You have what it takes. There's no one who is more qualified than you to do it. You have what it takes. You have the voice, so love and embrace that voice. Again, it's part of your author brand. Those are some of the crucial parts of creating an audiobook, and it is solving the audiobook puzzle, okay? As long as you understand this. Now, if you need help, and I highly suggest you get help, just like when I wrote my book, I hired a book coach, and it was the best investment I made. It was well worth the money because their expertise and their skills were able to guide me into writing a book that probably would have really sucked if I didn't have a coach to help me. So get a coach to help you with your audiobook. And I'd love to be the person to help you out because that's what I do as an audiobook coach and producer. My audiobook coaching program is called Your Book, Your Voice. Let's have a call. Let's have a conversation. Book a call. All right. There's a graphic on the screen for those of you on YouTube and LinkedIn. And then on Instagram, again, go to my profile page, click on the link, and there'll be a button that says schedule an audiobook consultation call. It's free. It's quick. Let's talk about your book. I'll give you more details about the audiobook coaching program that I teach. It's a 6-week program. You can record, narrate, and be ready for publication in 6 weeks. You can get it done. And I provide you with the equipment that you need, microphone, headphones, professional stuff, not crappy gear, not some cheap $100, blue or not blue, but like Yeti mics or whatever. No, we're talking Shure mics or things that are high quality. That's part of the program. That's what you get. $400 plus worth of equipment is yours to keep forever. Part of the program. And then I teach you how to set it up. We go through the fine art of how to do a great narration, how to be authentic and conversational. And then I do all the editing for you. I clean up your files. I do it right so that you will be published right the first time. Book a call. Let's talk about your book. Let's get you enrolled. All right. The link is in the comments. The link's in the description on LinkedIn and YouTube. So book your call. Would love to hear from you. And if you want to find out more information about what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, you can just go to my website at robertlanecoaching.com. There's plenty of places there to book your call. I'd love to speak with you and we'll get you enrolled. Let's do this. Do it for your business. You are an author brand. Having an audiobook is great and it needs to be in your own voice. All right. So with that, my friends, I'm going to wrap things up. Make sure you join me tonight for the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Don't forget my very special guest is Robert Gaines, and we'll be talking about his audiobook journey and his book as well, and about his podcast too, which is pretty cool. So that's at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time tonight on the Bold Brave TV YouTube channel. With that, my friends, one more cheers to you because you're awesome human beings. And again, your assignment is this. When you're out and about in the world, smile at a stranger. Say hello to them because that small gesture of kindness can make the world of difference in somebody's life. So be a life changer. That's your assignment. We need more positivity in this world, all right? Now more than ever. Thank you so much for tuning into the Coffee Chat. This is the Your Book, Your Voice Coffee Chat that I do every Thursday. I keep it fairly open forum, though I do bring in topics. If there's something you'd like me to talk about in regards to the audiobook world, let me know. You can reach out to me, send me a message, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. So I'll say goodbye to our LinkedIn and YouTube friends. First, thank you so much for tuning in. Have an awesome, awesome day. We'll see you on the podcast tonight. Remember that podcast is live. So join in on the conversation.